What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, I'm going through my old sketchbooks till I find an interesting character to bring back to life. And it just so happened I came across this creature that I drew, underwater sea creature, and I just found it interesting enough. I said, this character I'm going to bring back to life and repurpose it using Procreate on the iPad Pro. So I just brought it into the iPad, took a picture of it, and I got to work. Created a new layer on top. Have the technical pen in hand. And I'm just getting the outline correct. And the cool thing about Procreate, you can make whatever shape you do your line and hold it for a minute, and the program kind of figures out the shape you're going for and it locks it in. The only issue with that, you can't do too intricate of a shape, so you have to do it in pieces and then come back and tighten up the rest on your own. So that's what I did. And just so I could get that curvy shape, I went through the legs and stuff like that, just so I could make sure I get that overall shape. So then I'll do the legs on top, and I'm gonna erase the lines there. So once I have that down pat, the rest is pretty easy. And the reason I'm doing this is just to show how you could inspire yourself. And the thing about having sketchbooks and things of that nature is like, you forget about the doodles and the character you've done. It's like a time machine you have. You're just going back in time looking through these things. And this was an interesting character at the time when I did it. And like, how can I improve upon this character? So once I had the outline down pat, I created another layer of that outline, and I'm basically using that layer on top just for the scales. And that's stuff you need to think about too, because when you add in color, if I did not create a entire separate layer for the scales, I would have to go in and be adding color to each part of the scale that's touching, and it just would have turned into a headache. So I leave the layer on top, and I'm just gonna go back to the outline layer, and then when I seal it up, I can give it its I could color the entire creature without having to go through each scale. So once I had that down pat, I decided the cool thing about this, I'm just flowing, and whatever feels right, I'm going with that color. I was trying to figure out what kind of eyes to give this creature, and then I figured, let me just give it the black dead shark eyes, because a lot of people that, if you ever see anyone who's been attacked by sharks, they always talk about the creepiness of the black dead eyes. So I wanted to try to capture that. So, and now I created an entire layer on top just for the shadows. Made that about 50% opacity. And there's so many different ways you can do stuff like this. You could put all of it on one layer if that's easier for you, but I find it easier to break it up into layers. That way you can edit each part on its own and then merge them all together if that's what you would like to do. So I created another layer of the shadows, and I blurred that layer so I can have a little different tone to drag out and shape the scales and add more shadows. And that's just me going with it as I'm figuring out what looks best. And now I created another layer where I'm just gonna put the highlights. So it's like a back and forth thing. I'm gonna add the highlights, and it's basically white I'm using here. And it's good to do it in pieces so you don't get stuck on one part. So you're just bringing everything up together at the same time. You're just adding some highlights, certain pieces, certain places. And now I'm coming with the shadows under the scales. And that just gives it a whole nother texture and layer and a darker tone than the original shadow. I'm adding a shadow in the mouth to give you that effect of deep cavernous, that this creature is coming to swallow something and attack. And I had an image that I got online of just the ocean that I'm gonna use for the background. Just blur it up. I wanted the creature to look like he's in water. So I'm adding some more highlights. Then I created another layer just to throw a little couple of bubbles there to just add to the overall look. Blur some of the bubbles out. I think that adds a whole another level of flavor to it. And there you have it, folks. We are done. The sea creature is complete, and I have breathed new life into an old drawing from an old sketchbook. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you got something from it. If you did, please smack that like button, hit the subscribe, leave a comment down below. Any feedback will be appreciated. So until next time, y'all be good and be safe. Peace.